Goose, here. Goose. I have a cat, and she lives life for herself. But she doesn't live life for me. And my Australian Shepherds live life for me.
Cat people, I think, thrive on rejection. Dog people are relationship builders.
I think Izzy has given me something that I very much wanted, which is a way to use the dogs to connect more with people, to find more love, to find more intimacy, and to grow up more.
I thought I'd never be that guy, but now I'm that guy. I'm wiping butts, doing it all. Gotta find a girlfriend who likes to sleep with the dogs in the bed. I mean, I'll do anything you want, ladies, but the dog's gotta sleep in the bed.
I think dog people tend to be overindulgent of their pets.
I think I would give up my baby before I would give up my dogs.
A dog will run up to anybody and lick him. You know, the deli guy comes over and the dog's giving him the same love he's giving me when he comes home. Whereas this cat's not talking to anybody but me.
I don't necessarily always want somebody banging down my door, you know, looking to be petted. You know, I definitely get the unconditional love from Humphrey, but he's a little bit more subtle with it.
Dogs are optimists and cats are kind of cynical. Cats have a staff and dogs have family.
If you don't like cats, you haven't made the time to know a cat. And so I think if you open up and look through that feminine window for 15 minutes...
Is that the window we need to look through?
That's the window we need to look through. You don't have any trouble, especially in that shirt.
Is that right?
The cat is a good judge of character. There was somebody recently who was in my life, and the first time the cat saw her, he was like, dude, you know what I mean? This person is trouble.
She had 2 cats when we met. And then I came into the picture. And I don't think they really liked that.
You mean they didn't like you?
Yeah.
One reason we love dogs, we see ourselves in them. And it is ourselves.
I think in our rush to make dogs just like us, we sometimes fail to appreciate what makes them different. And I think they're another tribe. I mean, they're not like us. They have their own language, communication, their own instincts. So I actually celebrate them for the differences. I think what I really love about dogs and cats is that they're not like us.
Oh yeah, she likes this. So sometimes she gets her tough self on and...
I'm Sarah Wilson. I'm a professional dog trainer, and I'm a lifelong student of the human-animal bond.
Who's the best?
Come on, boo-boo. Okay, here we go. Ready? Hit it!
Half the fun of going to the dog run is seeing the whole rainbow of dog owners and dog combinations.
How many fingers? I am a singer, teacher, actress, and now he's following in my footsteps. He's gonna be a performer too, right, Tiger? Achoo! Achoo! Oh, boy.
People think that your eyes are the window into your soul. It's your dog. It's how you deal with your dog. It's how you praise your dog. It's how you interact with your dog.
Come here, Pooch. Ruby's defiance and stubbornness kind of took me by surprise. Sit. Ruby. Sit. Like right now, she's kind of like, I don't want it. It's sort of a blessing in disguise in that it's pointed to things that I need to work on in my own life.
What are you thinking of when you think that?
Some confidence.
Right, you got what you needed, maybe not what you wanted.
Yeah.
Give me 5. Sit up.
Through the years of being a professional dog trainer, I've seen patterns of behavior between owners and their dogs. And I've identified 9 of these patterns. And I see them all over, and you will too. We have the soulmate, the observer, the buddy, the idealist, the dynamo, the free spirit, the angel, the master, and the expert. Kathy and Ross were angel types. They want to save a dog. They don't want to control the dog. They want to heal through love.
This is Jasper.
Yes.
He's a rescue.
He has terrible separation anxiety.
Okay. How does that display itself?
He runs in circles and becomes hysterical if somebody tries to leave the apartment. Anybody.
When you've left and you come home, what's the situation? Is he in a panic?
No, he's actually sleeping.
Yeah, so that's not separation.
Yeah.
Separation anxiety is
That's
fear
right.
when he's left alone.
He will attack me, or he'll try to get between me and Kathy when we kiss.
And you
I try and calm him down and reassure him it's okay.
tell him right now that it's okay.
Jasper, come here. Oh, what a good boy. It's okay. Yeah,
And
good boy.
now he thinks you praise him. Every time he aggresses at Ross, he thinks he's being praised. And he goes, well, okay.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll do that.
He gets right between us and goes, I dare you to go nearer.
Yeah. And could anybody else on the planet get away with that?
No.
Dog owners that I would call angels classically have this problem. I go in and commonly see people who are not having sex because of their dogs. This happens because they're so loving with the dog that they don't tell the dog to knock it off like they would anybody else. Is this common?
No.
Because he's basically
Keeps my head warm.
mounting you. You are putting
is
him in
he?
the mounting position.
Oh, not good.
And you are putting a dog who aggresses at you in your own bed in the mounting position on your head. Do you think that in any way might be
Yeah,
confusing
that's,
to
I'm
the
pretty sure
dog?
that's really confusing.
Okay, so why don't we dismount the dog? There we go.
Okay.
Here's
There you go.
There's the leash, yeah.
Okay.
Dogs are sometimes some of the longest relationships we have. They'll be with us for 12 years, 13 years. I think the average marriage now is, what, 3.5 years?
Such a good boy. This is what I call the dog of my lifetime. You know, he's been my best friend. He's been my Friday night companion when I didn't want to go out or couldn't go out or didn't have anyone to go out with or whatever the situation was.
You are a classic soulmate type. Just, you love to love him, you want to be with him, and you share things.
I actually say that. I'm like, why do I love you so much? And like, it's just because. Like, it's the kind of love that's uncomplicated. It's just truthful.
Dogs are what we call congruent. They act the way they feel, and they feel the way they act, which is one of the problems with people, right? You don't always know what's going on, but they're authentic, and you can trust that.
And I just broke up with my boyfriend. It was really mean. But I said, you know, I just wish I could love you like I love Zachary. And like, I know that was really mean, but I meant it, and I couldn't, and I'm single, so, you know, it's just the way it is.
Carlo is a classic buddy type. He and his dog are a unit. If you start talking about relationship too much, most buddies get a bubble over their head, like, couldn't we go outside and play ball or do something like more interesting than this?
I want to take her everywhere I go. You know, if I could take her to work, I would, you know.
Absolutely.
She just hangs out and she's just happy to be at my feet. She's very low maintenance, very, very low maintenance.
She might make a great personal ad. You know exactly what you need. You know, occupies yourself, not too demanding, wants to do her outdoor things.
Yeah, you're making me think now that you said that. It's kind of creepy.
It's no surprise to me that we look for in a dog what we want in a best friend or another sort of companion. Of course, because they are family and they are that sort of companion.
All right, calm down.
With Carl and Jay, we have the master-observer combo.
Tell her about the rules.
Oh, well, most of the time when
Good
I'm
dog,
home
man.
with him alone, there aren't many rules. As soon as the gate opens and Carla comes home, that's when the rules begin.
He gets affection when I want him to have affection. He has to ask to get up on the couch.
Want to like throw the toys for him, and I say that's enough. Well, no, he keeps dropping it on my lap and pestering me until I keep doing it.
And he can do what he wants in the house, but when we go out and about, I've got the leash.
That's the master's deal. They love through protection, and protection for them is control. Jay just lets Rio be a dog, and that's the observer type. Were you only or a double? How many kids did you have in your family?
I have 3 natural sisters and an adopted brother and sister. I'm the oldest.
And you were the responsible one?
Correct.
And you?
And me, well, I was the middle child, so I was kind of just basically chasing butterflies all the time.
See the linkages here at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. For years, we've been trying to get people to train their dogs, and it hasn't helped. Why? Because we're missing the point entirely. It is not about that end of the leash. It is about us. It is about our relational patterns. It is about our perspectives.
I am Diana Corton. and I live here with my 2 daughters, my 5-year-old and my 10-year-old, and we're all cat lovers, which is a good thing since we live with 6 cats. This is Little Bit. Gussie is back here hiding because she is definitely the shyest cat of the whole bunch. This is Helen. Helen is my oldest cat. She's the social pariah of my little cat colony here. The other cats really don't like her. Then here we have Henry. Henry is my dear friend. This is Ben. And this is Daisy. She is my problem child and the final, and I really mean the final addition to the family. So you hear that? She's very crabby. She's not crabby with people. She's just crabby with other cats.
I am making a feast and for the kitties with their food. And this is a little trick I like to do and they really like it. I pour some of the dry food in the little hole.
Well, the thing is that cats live together, and it's not just an aggregation, which is a gathering of animals around a food source. It's actually a society. They can walk past another cat and just brush like this, and that means something much more. I mean, it's less demonstrative than, say, a dog would be, so people missed it completely because their signs are so subtle. Recently, it's been shown that there's a time-sharing society.
We think of territory in terms of square footage, while cats think of it in terms of paths. And they work everything on timeshare arrangements. If one cat, like this is their favorite place to sleep in the morning, another cat can have that place to sleep at night. They really get along very well.
I think I came up with a better idea.
Yes. I feel like the cats ask politely when they want something. You know, rather than barking at you, they come and rub against your leg when they want to be fed. You like that salmon? I just feel like it's a relationship of equals. When I'm around dogs, they dominate me. They just boss me around. They don't see me as an authority figure.
The 3 little kittens, they lost their mittens, and they began to cry.
I love the anticipation of little feet at night. I love the sound of purring. I love just the feel of their fur, like it's a pleasure to just touch them and stroke them. They come. You know, they come and they comfort you. I did a lot of crying through my divorce. I don't know how I would have survived if it wasn't for these cats. One of the things that has been such a godsend for me about Ben is April has opposition defiance disorder. Basically that means that, you know, even if you say, April, you want to go get some ice cream? She'll be like, no! She'll get into one of her tantrums, into one of her states, and the best thing to do to calm her down is just to bring her Ben. The way that he loves her so absolutely makes me feel like this cat was made for that girl, and that girl was made for this cat.
We share a very special relationship with dogs and cats, for example, because we co-evolved. We made dogs and cats who they are, and in some ways they fed back and influenced who we are. The fundamental ingredient is shared emotions. We share all the nitty-gritty parts of the brain, and we share all the neurochemicals and all the neurotransmitters. But most importantly for most people is we share their emotions. We now know that animals have what are called mirror neurons, and mirror neurons allow us to mirror in our own brains the feelings and the emotions of another animal. Let's revolutionize the field. Mirror neurons can be looked at as the neural basis for empathy. And that's just very important in the formation and the maintenance of the strong social bonds that we form with dogs and cats, and they form with one another. So it crosses species, but it also works within species.
Jerry's been with us through the most important part of our lives. We got him soon after we got married, bought our first house, started a business. God, we went whole hog and we were working every day for 12 hours a day. And Jerry was always with us because we always worked out of our home office. We used to call him the CFO, the Chief Fun Officer.
Or the Canine Fun Officer.
Canine Fun Officer, yeah.
He would come at 4:30, 5 o'clock. He'd know what time it was. He would nudge the keyboard. We would go on hikes, and he would, run and play and swim way out in the backcountry. 5, 6 years went by where he was just the most playful, friendly part of the family. Our last hike, just a couple weeks after that, he started limping. And they said it was arthritis, so we put him on a drug. A couple weeks went by, took him off the drug, and he was limping worse. I pressed on his shoulder one night, I'll never forget it, and he just let out a yelp like it was bloody murder.
Awful.
There was a tumor about the size of a mango growing inward, so we didn't see it through his fur.
Yeah, you couldn't feel it.
And the doctor said, sorry to say it, but it's cancer, and we were put on the spot. Amputate, and he'll have a bit longer to live, or medicate him.
If he could have a good quality of life on 3 legs, even if it was just a few months, that's all that mattered. A lot of people look at a dog with 3 legs and just think, it's terrible, why would you do that? Dogs are meant to have 4 legs.
Going to the hospital.
The doctor told us he's already on 3 legs. Doing this will get rid of his pain. At that point, it was just, no brainer. Because, I want more time with Jerry. The doctor told us he had 3 to 4 months to live. The routine that Jerry didn't like was waiting all day for us to play with him. So we decided to take this road trip, see new places with him, and take him out into the wilderness where he loves to be. And our life just took this 180, and it was all about Jerry. And here we are 14 months later. He just wants to play, play, play. He says, let's go.
Oh, Snow, look! He
He
got
loves
snow.
snow.
Oh my God.
We decided we're not going to put him through any chemotherapy treatments. And not to do x-rays every few weeks like they said we could do to see if something's coming back. We decided it was better not to know. I figured he would let us know when he was sick. We knew the signs. He would stop eating, he would get lethargic. I want to see Jerry playing and enjoying life until that happens. And when that time comes, by all means, man.
A lot of people thought we were nuts when we sold our business and our house and said we were going to travel for a while. How far do you go for a dog?
Time's up, Jerry.
I mean, he's not a kid. He's not a human. But he means so much to us. I can't picture our lives without him.
I'm actually an equal opportunity pet lover, animal lover, because I love dogs and cats equally, but in different ways. Years ago, I met a psychic who explained this to me, that dogs and cats feed into different parts of our personality. Dogs are emotion, and they also wiggle a lot, and cats are the mind. Living with dogs and cats under one roof certainly has some challenges involved.
She's the older sister, and he's sort of like the dorky little brother who, wants to just always be around her.
We always make that joke that it's like the high school senior, high school freshman thing.
Yes.
It's like it's Katie's Sweet 16, and she doesn't quite know if Stabler's cool enough yet
To be invited.
to hang out.
Dogs and cats, can be natural enemies, but you could raise a puppy and a kitten together, and they will form this amazing, tight bond. A cat between 2 weeks and 7 weeks is in a critical period of development. So if you take a cat who has been socialized to dogs, and then that cat is subsequently later in life at 6 months introduced to a bunch of people who happen to have dogs around, the cat goes, oh, hey, slap me for. They can still have a bad experience if one of the dogs starts chasing them. They go, wow, that's a bad one. But it's not like a class action suit against all dogs.
Trouble thinks it's a dog since it's been raised with dogs. And it fetches and it tries to eat the dog food.
Emily and Charlie are literally best friends in the house. I have 8 cats altogether. Emily, the dog, is also like a Florence Nightingale. I mean, if I have a sick cat, she comes over and she licks their ears. She makes sure that I medicate them correctly. She's the caretaker of the family.
There is a phenomenon called concaviation. Dogs and cats that will cleave together in ways that are sort of almost maternal or brotherly or sisterly. So there's all these blends from chasing and toleration and reading body language to even these very close, almost romantic relationships.
Charles Darwin, the famous biologist, geologist, said that differences among animals are differences in degree rather than differences in kind, which means that the differences among animals are like shades of gray, not black and white. I think one of the reasons that we feel so in sync with dogs and cats, but dogs in particular who tend to be more playful as a species, is because we can reciprocally play with them, because we can share the emotion. And there's no doubt that play is really, really fundamental to the development and the maintenance of the bond. The main thing that I've observed is that they play fairly. We call it wild justice. They cooperate with one another. They forgive one another when they bite too hard. They apologize and say, I'm sorry, I bit you too hard. So I think it's something about the equity, the justice, the fairness, the cooperation that really attracts us to dogs and cats and other animals.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this cat. Come out, I want to play with you. There he is, Willy boy.
Hey, buddy. Well, looks like we're going to free Willy today.
Traditionally, in shelters, an adopter would walk in the door and they'd have a picture in their mind of what they wanted for that pet. We know you come in with expectations, and those expectations are more than just a breed. It's about the behavior in that breed, that I want a dog that's gonna play ball with me, or I want a dog that's gonna cuddle with me at night.
Hi guys, my name's Jennifer.
Great, Mary, nice to meet you.
Mary, it's great to meet you.
Hi, Angel, nice to meet you.
Angel, it's wonderful to meet you. Well, this is Sasha.
I'm single and I own my own business, and I just have that empty void. I have friends, like she's a great friend, but I can't, have her constantly smother her,
You scored in the orange category, and Sasha is also an orange. Kind of a middle of the road in terms of exercise and training requirements.
Okay. I'm trying to better my life, and I thought about a cat, but I'm like, I'll just do the same thing. Sit and watch TV, not do anything, eat. I want a dog that will motivate me to wake up earlier, go running, and be more active. We need to do this like at least twice a week.
Yeah. See, and then we'll get exercise.
Get Sasha a boyfriend.
You, as the adopter, come in, you fill out a survey. That survey color codes you either purple, orange, or green. Animals that are within your color code are most likely to match based on your expectations and the dog or cat's behavior.
Look at you.
We do an assessment on the dogs. We look at play behavior, we look at how hard the dog will work for something. And from those assessment items, We determine that dog's caninality.
What a good girl. Good girl.
We have the purple dogs, the orange dogs, and the green dogs. Those are based on what we call the persistence scale.
Come here, Zoe. You don't want to treat?
How hard is this dog going to work for what he wants? Purple dogs won't work very hard for something that they want. If they don't get it easily, they're just going to give up and go lay down. Our orange dogs are our medium persistence dogs. These behavioral traits stay fairly stable in the home. Finally, our green dogs are very, very persistent and will likely learn how to get what they want. One of the ways that we determine the caninality, the individual name that that dog ends up with, whether he's a busy bee or a goofball or a wallflower, is his motivation type.
You're a goofball. Oh, I would have guessed that. Good boy.
We have some dogs that are socially motivated. They want to pay attention to us a lot. We have dogs that are internally motivated by stuff that we can't easily manipulate. Go get it. And then dogs that we call externally motivated, so they're motivated by lots of different things, food and toys and people.
Oh, is it yours now?
He is definitely a go-getter. He's got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So he's going to need a lot of attention.
I definitely think it's too much dog.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, well,
It's
maybe we can...
too much.
Maybe, this is too much for
Yeah,
us.
he's a good dog. Craig, I don't think so.
In the U.S., between 5 and 7 million companion animals enter our shelters every year. Of those, 60% of the dogs and between 70 and 75% of the cats never leave. They're euthanized. With the Meet Your Match program, we can actually decrease returns by more than half. So the reason for this program becomes very clear.
Hi, my name is Fluffy. You're working on the computer. Let me press the keys. You're reading the paper. We're here to adopt Fluffy, Itzy's little sister. We adopted her last week, and we found out that her sister was here, and we just want to give her a home too, or we want to at least look at her and see if we want her.
It would be interesting to see what would happen, if we get her home with the other one.
We lost nobody in February to cancer, and then in September we lost somebody. And then in December, when we lost anybody too, we had her cremated, and we have all their remains, and we have them in cat urns, and they're on our fireplace. They're always going to be with us, and
Guess we're weird.
we just love our cats.
While Itzy was in the shelter, she went through the same exact assessment that Fluffy went through, and they both came out as orange cats. Fluffy told us in her assessment that she's even more social than Itzy. She's what we would call a gregarious cat.
I'm hoping that this one will become my cat because Itzy has adopted Bill.
There's not room for two on my lap.
Melvin. He, let's see, like all sidekicks, I'm just plain good company. I like attention, and I also like my solitude, which is good.
For our cats, we actually use the same colors, purple, orange, and green, but they mean different things. We're looking at something that we call valiance. Some might call it confidence. It's really shy versus bold. The assessor just watches the interaction of the cat around the room. How is the cat moving about? Is his body tall? Is his body low? What amount of time does he spend interacting with the assessor? We also have another scale. It's the independent gregarious scale, and there we're looking at social behavior. We pick the cat up and we hold him up against our body. There's a lot of cats that enjoy touch but don't like to be held, so that's great information for our adopters. We just simply stroke the cat, and we give them 5 long strokes. Cats that get fairly overstimulated towards that touch or move away from the touch are cats that are not as likely to do as well with children.
Sure. So this is Melvin. Melvin is actually an orange kitty. He's what we call a sidekick.
He was a stray. It looks like somebody brought him in. He's been here about a month, quite a while. You know, he's an adult gray cat. They tend to stay longer than most, probably second to our black cats.
Yeah, the other one that we were looking at. Well, hi.
Wow.
Melvin.
There could be 80 cats to choose from on the adoption floor, and in some shelters even more than that. So it helps, it makes it fun. I'm narrowing down my focus. I'm a purple person, so I'm going to focus on a purple cat.
Puck scored in the purple range. Purple cats are probably going to hide a little bit more. They take a little bit longer to adjust to new situations. I think we're leaning more toward Mario. Yeah.
Once you make that decision to bring an animal home, it can be heart-wrenching to have to bring them back. Having realistic expectations about your pet will increase the bond.
We're almost home now, buddy.
The animal's going to be much more likely to stay in the home. And that means that more lives can be saved in shelters.
I love her. I want to take her home. Absolutely.
You want to adopt
Yes.
her? Wonderful.
Yes.
Will, come here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on, up here.
Come on, buddy. There you go.
Come on, buddy.
Come on, here.
Oh, come on.
Get back right up.
Ready, up we go.
Up we go. There you go.
Good job, buddy.
Brian gets home from work. He lies on the bed. He gets in his comfy shorts and t-shirt, and he lies there. And Miles jumps on his chest, purrs, gives kisses, and that's decompression time. That's 15 minutes of just leave me alone. Only Miles.
Every day.
Every day.
Right.
It's like they're male bonding. I get a little jealous.
They bring out the softer side of me. Does that sound weird?
No, it doesn't sound weird. Well, thank God.
What do you think?
There's nothing like that direct eye-to-eye contact I have with this cat that I have ever encountered with another animal, and I dare say with some humans. There's a soulfulness, there's a depth of spirit here that I think cats own uniquely.
It was the cat that saved me. I mean, if you want me to get real personal about it, I would like lock myself in this room and just drink all the time, you know, for like all day long, you know? And I would come out and humans couldn't even reach me at that point. When I was at my bottom, it was the cat who would wait outside that door for 8 hours till I'd come out. And then he'd look at me just because he wanted to walk over to eat with me. You know, his big thing is he likes me to sit with him and eat. He likes the nourishment, not just from the food, but he likes the companionship ever since he was a kitten. And, you know, it was having to look him in the eye and knowing what I was doing to myself that got me to seek help for that problem and not isolate.
I've always had cats in my life. I have a cat currently named Smokey, and I'm kind of a one-cat person. I've never had more than one at a time. When I met Diana's cats, they came running up to me, and they have quite distinct personalities. It'll be visuals with the pictures of the animals and then commentary about
Are you
their
talking
lives.
about your pet project?
Right.
Did you bring that CD?
I did.
Can we listen to it?
Sure, sure.
In Western culture, the cat is so associated with the feminine, and I think that men who have gotten in touch with their cat selves tend to be a little more emotionally in tune. Ken is so emotionally involved with his animals that he has composed musical portraits of them.
I find animals to be a very great stimulant to creativity. Smokey in particular is a very affectionate creature. He sits at my feet when I write music. He is definitely a muse, and one of the finest ones that I have ever had. And that's one of the main reasons I felt like I wanted to do this minor tribute to show some of my regard for these wonderful creatures and how they had enriched my life.
I have an old saying that if you teach a cat one new trick every month, because of the communication that's building between the cat and the owner, behavior problems eventually will melt away. We preach with dogs that people should spend more time training, doing agility. Well, the cat's no different. The cat needs that same interaction, will benefit from it, definitely needs exercise, needs something to think about, not just the next meal.
This weekend, we are at the International Cat Association big annual cat show. I've brought 8 cats today. All 8 of them are going to participate in agility. How they do, I don't know.
Here's the deal. See this? You go over it. Yeah, like that.
This is Slick Willie. He's a little 6-month-old Cornish Rex. He's my best shot for the weekend.
My parents, when they first heard I was going to do this, they said, "Oh no, I don't think so, Shirley. You know, they're cats. They're not dogs." And I said, I really think that they have the potential. When I first started working with the cats, what really amazed me was how responsive they were. And I thought, you know, you fed your cat and played with it a little bit and went off and trained the dog. But here was a cat that when I said sit, was sitting. When I put it on a leash, was walking with me on a leash. I thought, wow, this is pretty fantastic. Okay. Everybody did that with their puppy. It was common. But nobody did it with kittens. And we found out that the more we did with the cats, the more trainable they were.
People underestimate the cat. When we put a cat in a ring and people see the cats moving and see the interaction of a cat with the owner, regardless of the age of the owner, it's like an epiphany. Where have we been? How come we've been wasting so much time?
I don't think I could train cats because I really don't have that much patience. You want them to go this way, they go this way, or go under when they're supposed to go in.
A lot of people think you can't train cats. Well, that's wrong. If you're training with the flow, for an animal to do what it does, for a cat to engage those aspects of predatory behavior, you know, the leaping, the springing, the following, you know, now you're working with nature.
Hey, see how I'm making them do everything correctly? I'm not worried about any speed. It's most important to get them to do it right the first time. If I see them going off to the side, I bring them back around and come back forward for it. So see how he's just following that target stick? That was my fault. Did you see what I did? I cued him back before his shoulder was passed. I have to wait till the shoulder comes in. Shoulder comes through, come back to this side, shoulder comes through. Then I go over here. Good boy.
A couple years ago, somebody would have said I'd be at cat shows on the weekends and driving hundreds of miles. I would say they're crazy.
He used to drive a concrete truck and love big dogs. Now he
now
loves
I have cats. They're almost like 2-year-old children. They miss nothing. Nothing is owed to them.
Oh, she's sniffing. They like to sniff everything, and then they'll go.
When you bring a cat into a place like this and there's been a cat just beforehand, the next cat's going to come in, and while he's thinking about his exercises he's been trained to do, there's, oh my goodness, there's another cat, and it was a female, and I wonder what I have for breakfast, and you know, there's all these different signals going on, and the owner goes, come on, you could do it at home.
Okay, let's go to agility.
When an owner spends time interacting with their cat in the form of training, agility, and things like this, it empowers both sides of the equation in the sense that the owner now realizes they can train their cat, which is a revelation and gets them new respect for their little furry friend. But also the cat sees that owner as being somebody that they can potentially communicate with.
You are perfect, so show it. You ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Come on, Rusty. Go, 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 go.
It's interesting to see how the motivation is different. It's not for the cookie, it's not for the petting, it's because they want to have fun.
Let's finish off with a bang.
Here you see the soul of a cat.
Good boy.
First time he went through it 19 seconds, and then he broke his record to 15 seconds. So he really done very well for a Persian, because they're usually thought of as kind of a dumb cat.
You can't force a cat to do anything. Everything has to come because they want to do it. And the end reward for us is them doing what we want them to do.
He's such a good man. He does everything with me. Whatever I want to do, he's willing to do it. He is my true other half. Now go out and find me a man, dude.
Our relationship with dogs and cats is a tricky one. On the one hand, it's very unequal and asymmetrical. We control them totally. But when we provide them with enriched lives, like we do agility training, or we take them running, or let them swim, or play hide and seek, or whatever game, it enriches their life. And what's in it for them is they enjoy it. They enjoy being challenged. The fact that other animals have rich and deep emotional lives, and they're smart, and they're moody, and they have personalities, mean we need to respect them and appreciate more who the animals are.
Hey, she taught me how to love, actually. You know, I never thought that I would get that from a dog.
I remember laying in bed at one point, and I was watching something on television about a story, someone didn't survive what I was diagnosed with, and I just kind of broke down under the pressure. And he literally came in from the other room, jumped up on the bed, and just kind of put his head on my chest, like he really knew, just to be there with me and stay with me.
Things in my personal life went south very fast, and I lost a lot of things that were really important to me. Almost overnight, yeah, I know. Almost overnight, he transformed into this incredible creature who just wasn't nearly so goofy anymore, and he chose me. And that's when I feel like the partnership started.
I started using Skylar in my creative visualizations, and so I would send him in. I would imagine that the HIV were mice, and I would send Skylar in to go get the mice. And you know, this is back when we had no real therapy, and I don't know how much stock you can put in it, but I did well, and other friends did not. And so I really do credit Skylar with me doing as well as I have, and I'm sorry that he's gone, but he's still, you know, he's still here, he still helps me, and all of that.
To see Jerry in his element in places like this really gives me a kick.
You go, Jerry, go.
And we've been able to do that. We've been to so many spectacular places in the last year.
It was just about living in the moment like dogs do, and taking every day by day and trying not to fear about what's coming.
That was bone cancer.
That's why he has 3 legs, but he does great.
In the meantime, we're just kind of traveling around with him and showing
exactly.
people.
Yes, honey, huh?
I have a golden retriever Rottweiler, and he's 11 years old. It's the same leg as Jerry.
Cut out a cartoon the other day and put it on the inside of our mirror. And it's the writer looking at his watch saying, "What time is it?" And the dog says, "Now, now, 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 now." And he says, "Dogs always know what time it is."
Last week, we went to see my family in Los Angeles, and Jerry needed some heartworm medication. And the vet was great, but he really encouraged us to get x-rays done.
And Renee found a clinic in New Mexico near where we were going to be for the next month.
So how far is the campground from the clinic?
Not very far, it's like a half hour.
Okay.
His appointment's at 9. So we gotta get up at a
Up and
decent
at 'em.
hour.
We need to be on the same page about what we're willing to do, and not do is more important. And me personally, I don't want to put him through an operation if that's
No, I
things
agree, I
operable.
agree.
I don't want to go back for chemo repeated times if that's an option. Are you with me there?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I want to stick by my guns and do it for him. I mean, we could go to the lengths and spend all the money just so we could have more time for us with him. I'd rather have more quality time for him with us.
So his one remaining front leg is up here, heads up this way, and then his tail's down here, okay? And at this point, from what I can tell in these x-rays, I'm most concerned about two different spots, not just one. There's one main mass here, and then there's this additional thing, which is really hard to see. He, you know, by nature of him having tumors in his lungs right now, the average survival time is about 2.5 months, okay? And that's without any treatment. And I know that's hard to hear, without any treatment at all. Now, if we decide to go down this route, I've used this for, I would say, about 5 or 6 years now, this sort of option. I would say that a good outcome in his case would be 6 months, okay?
Oh, that's great.
And that's feeling good. I don't want him 6 months sick.
Right.
I want him 6 months feeling good, being his normal Jerry self,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe being a little tired on walks here and there, and that's fine, you know.
As she was standing there explaining our options, I just kept thinking, why? Why didn't I do this sooner? Maybe that tumor wouldn't be there.
And I know it would still be there, and it would come back eventually. Going to clinics back and forth wouldn't have been worth it to me. Is there any sort of self-administered euthanasia, or is it
Does
just
a vet
you
have to
need
do it?
to
It
do it
needs-
right? You need someone to do that.
Yeah, you need to have a veterinarian do
So
that.
something-
But what you can do is, if you see he's starting to get
Mm-hmm.
worse, is that you can add in more pain medications to keep him as pain-free and as
pain
comfortable
management
as you can. Exactly. You have such an incredible bond with him that you just need to look in his eyes, you know, and he'll let you know. He'll let you know.
You ready to go? You wanna? You wanna go? He's spoken to me in my dreams lately, as if he knows what's coming, and he doesn't care. As if he's protecting us. I had a dream that we were walking in the forest and the big bad wolf came, and he was gonna eat us, and it was getting scarier and scarier, but Jerry chased him off, and that wolf wouldn't come near us. In a perfect world, we would see this beautiful stretch of land after a long, long time on the road with Jerry. We'd see him run on it. He'd get to live there and eventually be put to rest there.
Now you're gonna make me cry. Don't do that. It blows me away. It really does. The fact that he was able to get us out here.
Tired, Jerry?
You know, it came in an unpleasant way with the cancer, but there's always a silver lining with everything, and this is what it is with cancer and Jerry.
The dog has taught me to respect life. The dog sees things differently, hears things differently. It's a different world.
They're wild. They're still wild. And they bring that back to us.
All I know is that that day in the shelter, he came and he like almost sat on my head. He was like, "Hi, I'm here, and I'm gonna give you another chance," meaning me as a representative of the human race. So that is an amazing, amazing gift.
He would remind me constantly of what it was that I was striving for, which was a healthy, conscious life, you know? So in that way, you know, he was a Zen teacher.
Their love mends my soul when I'm ill. And when I get home from the hospital, I get well faster when I'm surrounded by them.
You're under the covers and the world is horrible, but they have to be walked. So you drag yourself out of your bed, and you don't drag yourself out of your grief, but you drag yourself out of your bed and you go outside and you walk them. And they have gotten you back into the world. And they've gotten you back into a really beautiful part of the world where there's air and sun and sensations, and you come back to life. They really bring you back to life. They do.
To learn more about what you've seen on this nature program, visit pbs.org.
Goose, here. Goose. I have a cat, and she lives life for herself. But she doesn't live life for me. And my Australian Shepherds live life for me.
Cat people, I think, thrive on rejection. Dog people are relationship builders.
I think Izzy has given me something that I very much wanted, which is a way to use the dogs to connect more with people, to find more love, to find more intimacy, and to grow up more.
Thought I'd never be that guy, but now I'm that guy. I'm wiping butts, doing it all. Gotta find a girlfriend who likes to sleep with the dogs in the bed. I mean, I'll do anything you want, ladies, but the dog's gotta sleep in the bed.
I think dog people tend to be overindulgent of their pets.
I think I would give up my baby before I would give up my dogs.
Yay! A dog will run up to anybody and lick him. You know, the deli guy comes over and the dog's giving him the same love he's giving me when he comes home. Whereas this cat's not talking to anybody but me.
I don't necessarily always want somebody banging down my door, you know, looking to be petted. You know, I definitely get the unconditional love from Humphrey, but he's a little bit more subtle with it.
Dogs are optimists and cats are kind of cynical. Cats have a staff and dogs have family.
If you don't like cats, you haven't made the time to know a cat. And so I think if you open up and look through that feminine window for 15 minutes...
Is that the window we need to look through?
That's the window we need to look through. You don't have any trouble, especially in that shirt.
Is that right?
The cat is a good judge of character. There was somebody recently who was in my life, and the first time the cat saw her, he was like, dude, you know what I mean? This person is trouble.
She had 2 cats when we met. And then I came into the picture. And I don't think they really liked that.
You mean they didn't like you?
Yeah.
One reason we love dogs, we see ourselves in them. And it is ourselves.
I think in our rush to make dogs just like us, we sometimes fail to appreciate what makes them different. And I think they're another tribe. I mean, they're not like us. They have their own language, communication, their own instincts. So I actually celebrate them for the differences. I think what I really love about dogs and cats is that they're not like us.
Oh yeah, she likes this. So sometimes she gets her tough self on and...
I'm Sarah Wilson. I'm a professional dog trainer, and I'm a lifelong student of the human-animal bond.
This is the best.
Come on, boo-boo. Okay, here we go. Ready? Hit it!
Half the fun of going to the dog run is seeing the whole rainbow of dog owners.
In circles and becomes hysterical if somebody tries to leave the apartment. Anybody.
When you've left and you come home, what's the situation? Is he in a panic?
No, he's actually sleeping.
Yeah, so that's not separation.
Yeah.
Separation anxiety is
That's
fear
right.
when he's left alone.
He will attack me, or he'll try to get between me and Kathy when we kiss.
And you
I try and calm him down and reassure him it's okay.
tell him right now that it's okay.
Jasper, come here. Oh, what a good boy. It's okay. Yeah,
And
good boy.
now he thinks you praise him. Every time he aggresses at Ross, he thinks he's being praised. And he goes, well, okay.
Yeah.
No problem, I'll do that.
He gets right between us and goes, I dare you to go nearer.
Yeah, and could anybody else on the planet get away with that?
No.
Dog owners that I would call angels classically have this problem. I go in and commonly see people who are not having sex because of their dogs. This happens because they're so loving with the dog that they don't tell the dog to knock it off like they would anybody else. Is this common?
No.
Because he's basically
Keeps my head warm.
mounting you. You are putting
is
him in
he?
the mounting position.
Oh, not good.
And you are putting a dog who aggresses at you in your own bed in the mounting position on your head. Do you think that in any way might be confusing
Yeah,
to
that's, I'm
the
pretty sure
dog?
that's really confusing.
Okay, so why don't we dismount the dog? There we go.
Okay.
Here's
There you go.
There's the leash, yeah.
Okay.
Dogs are sometimes some of the longest relationships we have. They'll be with us for 12 years, 13 years. I think the average marriage now is, what, 3.5 years?
Such a good boy. This is what I call the dog of my lifetime. You know, he's been my best friend. He's been my Friday night companion when I didn't want to go out or couldn't go out or didn't have anyone to go out with or whatever the situation was.
You are a classic soulmate type. Just, you love to love him, you want to be with him, and you share things.
I actually say that. I'm like, why do I love you so much? And like, it's just because. Like, it's the kind of love that's uncomplicated. It's just truthful.
Dogs are what we call congruent. They act the way they feel, and they feel the way they act, which is one of the problems with people, right? You don't always know what's going on, but they're authentic, and you can trust that.
And I just broke up with my boyfriend. It was really mean. But I said, you know, I just wish I could love you like I love Zachary. And like, I know that was really mean, but I meant it, and I couldn't, and I'm single, so, you know, it's just the way it is.
Carlo is a classic buddy type. He and his dog are a unit. If you start talking about relationship too much, most buddies get a bubble over their head, like, couldn't we go outside and play ball or do something like more interesting than this?
I want to take her everywhere I go. You know, if I could take her to work, I would, you know.
Absolutely.
She just hangs out and she's just happy to be at my feet. She's very low maintenance, very, very low maintenance.
She might make a great personal ad. You know exactly what you need. You know, occupies yourself, not too demanding, wants to do her outdoor things.
Yeah, you're making me think now that you said that. It's kind of creepy.
It's no surprise to me that we look for in a dog what we want in a best friend or another sort of companion. Of course, because they are family and they are that sort of companion.
All right, calm down.
With cars and dog combinations.
How many fingers? I am a singer, teacher, actress, and now he's following in my footsteps. He's going to be a performer too, right, Tiger? Achoo! Achoo! Oh, boy.
People think that your eyes are the window into your soul. It's your dog, and it's how you deal with your dog. It's how you praise your dog. It's how you interact with your dog.
Come here, Pooch.
Ruby's defiance and stubbornness kind of took me by surprise. Sit. Ruby. Sit. Like right now, she's kind of like, I don't want it. It's sort of a blessing in disguise in that it's pointed to things that I need to work on in my own life.
What are you thinking of when you think that?
Some confidence.
Right, you got what you needed, maybe not what you wanted.
Yeah.
Give me 5. Sit up.
Through the years of being a professional dog trainer, I've seen patterns of behavior between owners and their dogs. And I've identified 9 of these patterns. And I see them all over, and you will too. We have the soulmate, the observer, the buddy, the idealist, the dynamo, the free spirit, the angel, the master, and the expert. Kathy and Ross were angel types. They want to save a dog. They don't want to control the dog. They want to heal through love.
This is Jasper.
Yes.
He's a rescue.
He has terrible separation anxiety.
Okay.
Just
How does
somebody-
that display itself?
He runs